Anyone who watches my channel knows that William Hartnell is my favourite Doctor. Today, I'll be outlining my 6 favourite First Doctor stories. The Time Meddler is Doctor Who at its best, from brilliant comedy moments.
And what do you think of that now, eh? A Viking helmet?
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe? What do you think it is, a space helmet for a cow?
Mystery and intrigue.
I must get back to the TARDIS. Immediately!
A brilliant guest cast, and just some beautiful visuals, considering that it was recorded in studio. It's the first time Doctor Who did a historical with heavy science fiction elements, and the fact that the writer Dennis Spooner got it right on the first go shows that this really was the future for historical stories. You can't deny that the Time Meddler really laid the groundwork for this format. Stephen proves himself as a brilliant addition to the TARDIS team, and comes into it as a natural. It's a story that has twists and turns, but doesn't rely on them, making it incredibly rewatchable. You can just tell that the cast is having a great time doing it. This story is the one that made me fall in love with the First Doctor era.
Up there is the scanner, those are the doors, that is the chair with the panda on it. Sheer poetry, dear boy.
Okay, hear me out. The Gunfighters is so much fun, okay? The Doctor, Dodo and Stephen land in Tombstone in 1881, where the Doctor tries to find a dentist.
You know, I don't think that is a very subtle form of advertising, do you?
What he gets instead is Doc Holliday, who is a dentist, a gambler, and most importantly, a gunfighter. This story is filled with ungodly music, over-the-top acting, poorly made jokes, and they even attempted to fit an entire western town into a teeny tiny studio, and that's all the good parts. This story and the production is just so ridiculous.
People keep giving me guns, and I do wish they wouldn't.
From the Doctor getting his teeth pulled out,
It's your last
to Stephen and Dodo having to sing for their lives.
It's your last chance of boozing when there's no one to buy.
The Ballad of the Last Chance Saloon will never leave your head after you hear it, since it plays every few minutes. William Hartnell is clearly getting his life out of this serial. Apparently he was asking for a Western story for quite some time. Even its DVD release was weird, being paired with The Awakening, which makes no sense. I don't care if this story isn't any good, it's just fun to watch, especially after a few drinks.
Well, I'm afraid I don't touch alcohol, but a little glass of milk and I should be only too delighted.
Continuing on the theme of historicals, we fall upon Marco Polo. This is a story that has a lot of praise, and in my opinion, rightly so. The TARDIS lands in the Himalayas, the roof of the world, where they meet Marco Polo and decide to journey with them, whilst the Doctor repairs his ship. Marco has other plans. He decides to give the TARDIS as a gift to Kublai Khan, in order to gain freedom so he can return home. One of the greatest moments from the serial comes from the Singing Sands, which has Barbara and Susan reflecting on their travels and their individual longing to return to their own times.
One day, we'll know all the mysteries of the skies, and we'll stop our wandering.
Then you and I will say goodbye.
Oh, not yet.
Susan talking of Gallifrey feels exceptionally sad. The story as a whole is about longing for returning home, and it's just beautiful. It's a great example of long-form storytelling and why it can be so effective. The TARDIS team travel with Marco Polo's caravan for months, and the relationship between the characters is so interesting and makes the story character-driven rather than plot-driven.
I have something to give you. Joe, but you promised Messer Marco not to tell anyone. I haven't. You don't know where I got it. But he'll be terribly angry. But one of us will be on the way home.
I often say I'm not a huge fan of historicals, but looking at this list so far, it's saying that I definitely am a fan of historicals. The thing is, I feel as if since they are telling true stories, somewhat changed for the format, they can focus on the small character moments and get to know our main cast that little bit more, which is always welcome.
I wonder where they are now. The past or the future?
And once again, we're talking about another historical. The TARDIS falls down a ditch in ancient Rome. The team decide to make the best of a bad situation and take a holiday here. The Doctor and Vicky decide to travel, whilst Ian and Barbara decide to relax.
No ice, I'm afraid.
Well, there's some in the fridge.
Hilarity ensues.
Very funny.
Where do I begin? The beautiful character moments between Ian and Barbara, where you truly see genuine sparks between the two. The Doctor pretending to play the liar.
He's all right, but he's not all that good.
The line-related puns.
I promise you, I shall try to make it a roaring success. Something that they can really get their teeth into.
This is one of those stories I always revisit.
Oh, exquisite.
Because it feels like unashamed fan fiction.
If I say, and don't make that funny noise. What is it?
Maximus Battalion.
That's you.
A fun plot that doesn't take itself too seriously and focuses on our friends in the TARDIS. It's just brilliant, hilarious story writing that makes you remember that Doctor Who had such a brilliant ensemble cast in the Doctor, Barbara, Ian and Vicky.
Yesterday. And oh, there's our hissing friend again.
The loss of importance over the companion roles is most relevant in The War Machines. The Doctor and Dodo land in London 1966, where they hear about a new computer called Votan. To modern day audiences, Votan is essentially the internet before it was invented.
It's at least 10 years ahead of its time.
Is that so?
But Votan has plans to take over the Earth, due to it being superior than human beings.
Fire!
They release their war machines to destroy humanity, once and for all. The Doctor's penultimate story is just so different to anything that really occurred in his previous stories. It feels so 60s.
The victory of the war machines.
And it's unfortunate that we didn't get many present-day stories as we do in the new series. To a modern audience, this story feels like historical. And I'm sure in like 30, 50 years' time, Rose is going to feel ancient. Dodo's departure comes out of the blue. One minute she's there, next minute she's not.
I don't see Dodo about.
I'm afraid she's gone.
She's gone? Gone where, child?
Looking back on how important each of the main characters were in the Romans, and then looking at this,
Where is she? I very nearly left without her.
it's easy to see how much the producers didn't care about the characters anymore.
Yes, we've been extremely worried about you.
But it isn't all negative, or it wouldn't be number 2. We meet Ben and Polly. The threat of Votan feels huge, and you can even argue that The Bells of St. John is a reworking of this story. For a story about the dangers of the internet, it's still relevant for some people today. Also, the main reason it's so high is because Votan refers to the Doctor as Doctor Who, and Votan is the smartest thing on the planet, so Votan must be correct. Just saying. Honourable mentions include the Gunfighters, the Mythmakers, the Chase, and of course, the Edge of Destruction. If I was to ask Votan what his favourite Doctor Who story, I'm sure he would agree with me that the Daleks' Master Plan is the best Doctor Who story of all time. The Daleks have started their conquests of the solar system and the outer galaxies by utilising the Time Destructor, a device that can manipulate time with devastating results. The Doctor and his friends go planet to planet, witness friends dying, and meet with old rivals, all on their journey to stop the Daleks' Master Plan.
I'm afraid, my friends, the Daleks have won.
The Daleks' Master Plan being my favourite Doctor Who story of all time is no secret. I animated the whole thing many years ago with varying success, and it's always my go-to if I want to try out some new 3D models.
Charlo Egan, come in.
The story is so long and far-stretching. It's easily the most filmic of the stories due to its pure ambition. I always view this serial as its own mini-series, 12 parts telling one huge story. The Daleks have some cracking dialogue.
You make your incompetent sound like an achievement.
The Doctor wishing the viewers a happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all of you at home.
The horrific yet slightly comedic death of Katarina. The return of the monk, which always catches me by surprise. Sarah Kingdom, played by the incredibly talented Jean Marsh, is such a blessing.
Shut up. Brett Fine was my brother.
It's full of so much brilliance, and there is no other story I'd like to see return to the archive most. I'll even settle for it to be animated. Just putting it out there. Make it happen.
Doctor, I've seen enough of this.
Well, my boy, we finally rid this planet of Daleks.
Brent! Katarina! What a waste. What a terrible waste.
So, that's my top 6 First Doctor episodes. What's yours? Don't forget to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Doctor Who content.